Hello students, we are back for mathematics. We are still on that long and wide topic, fractions. Before we proceed, we need to go through the assignment that was given the other time. Let's look at it. The first one was ordering of the fractions, putting them in order of magnitude, either ascending order or descending order. We have to change each of those fractions to an equivalent fraction having a common denominator for all of them. Equivalent fraction having a common denominator for all of them. Let's look at the original fractions given. They are 2/3, 3/4, and 5/6. These are the three fractions given. And we are to arrange them in order of magnitude, from smallest to biggest, ascending order, or from biggest to smallest, descending order. Now we look at the denominators of the fractions, 3, 4, and 6. We have to find a common denominator for the three numbers. That is what we call LCM. But here is LCD, least common denominator. So we look at it. Number there, of course, you know, is 12. The number is 12. So we shall give them that common denominator of 12. Common denominator for all of them of 12. It therefore means we shall change 2/3 to an equivalent fraction with common denominator 12, 3/4 to a common, an equivalent fraction with common denominator 12, 5/6, the same thing, into its equivalent fraction with common denominator 12. Now we allow these three to divide 12, and that will give us 4 times. You write that 4 outside, but this 4 must come to multiply the denominator that was originally given, and the denominator there is 2. We are finished with that first one. We come to this second one. 4 will divide 12, and it will go 3 times. And these 3 will multiply the original numerator that is given there, which is 3. We are finished with that. We come to the third one. We repeat a similar thing. 6 into 12, 2. These 2 will multiply 5. We shall then multiply them out and see what we really have. Multiplying them out, we shall have first one 8, second one 9, third one 10. All these over 12. Because we have given them a least common denominator, we can then compare them now. The denominator for 8 is 12, denominator for 9 is 12, denominator for 10 is 12. So we look at these new numerators. They are representing the original fractions. Therefore, arranging them from smallest to biggest, we shall say, what gave us 8? It belongs to 2/3. So that will give us 2/3 first. What gave us 9? That is 3/4. Next. And then what gave us that 10? It is 5/6. This is ascending order of magnitude. Ascending order of magnitude. Assuming we are to reverse, that is starting from the biggest to the smallest, we shall now write 5/6 first, after that 3/4, then after that 2/3. And this is descending. Descending. Why is it descending? Because it's coming from the highest to the smallest. So this is what is expected of us in that arrangement. There is yet another way of doing it, which we shall not have time to discuss now. This is the common one that you find everywhere, faster for you to do. Change the fractions into the equivalent fractions with a common denominator to all the fractions that are involved. Then you compare their numerators in size. That gives you what is required. So that is for that first one. Now, the number 2 that we had in our assignment, we were to add and we were to subtract. Add and subtract. Now, the first one was 5 over 6 plus 2 over 3. 5 over 6. 5 over 6 plus 2 all over 3. So 5, 6 added onto 2/3. Then we look at the denominator again. Very, very important. The denominator here is 6. The denominator there is 3. We need to give them a common denominator. And that common denominator is the one where this denominator here can easily go into without a remainder. That is the LCD, least common denominator, or LCM. So this now will be equivalent to give it that common denominator, which is 6. Some will write 12, but that is not the least. The least is 6. All right. So again, 6 will divide 6. That will be once, and that will multiply 5. Plus 3 will divide 6, and that is 2 times, but that will multiply the original numerator 2. Then we come and say that this is equivalent to 5 plus 4 all over 6. And if we do that, will give us 9 over 6. But this is not a stable fraction. This is an improper fraction. We have to change it to the mixed fraction. So, and that will give us 6 will go into 9 once. And what remains now is 3. 3 over 6. If you leave it at this, it's not yet complete. Because 3 can still go into 3 and still go into 6. We have to reduce once more to the lowest step. And that will give us one whole number, 1 over 2. That is what is expected of us in that. Let's take the other one, which is on subtraction. Subtraction. So this is number 2A. And now we move to 2B, which is on subtraction. And what had we? We had there 3/4 minus 2/3. Just like we did the first one. Least common denominator is very, very important. So that will give us the least common denominator there is 12. And 4 will go into 12 3 times. This denominator here will go into this denominator 3 times. Let it be 3 there, but it will multiply the original numerator, which is 3, minus 3 will go into this new denominator, and that will give us 4 times, but it has to multiply the original numerator, 2. If you do, you now have 9 minus 8 all over 12. Simplifying, that 9 minus 8 is 1 all over 12. That is just as simple as that. I know that all of you got it and you're feeling very happy about that. So you have to clap for yourself, having gotten all that. But then we shall go to the next stages. Multiplication, and division. So we have to clear this. If you have not copied it down, please do so. If you got it wrong, copy it down. I know that Samson is listening to me. Please do so, Sam. You know yourself. Do it. It will favor you. Can you see what Bright has done? Follow him and copy. All right, we can remove this. Let's go to our multiplication. Our multiplication will be taken in 2 forms. Suppose I have 3 multiplied by 1 over 4. That is what I have. It will look very easy. I'll say that what I have here is the same thing as 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4 plus 1 over 4. It means 1 over 4 into how many places? 3 places. That is what it means. And we are used to our additions. Then we will now come here and say that this particular thing, least common denominator, 4. Put it there. 4 into 4, 1. That will multiply that 1. 1. Plus. Like that. 1 will multiply 1. Plus. Like that. 1 will multiply 1. So you now have 1 plus 1 plus 1 all over 4. And that gives us 3 of them all over 4. If you look at it, it would have been easier for us to say 3 over 1 multiplied by 1 over 4. Let's see whether this type of thing can also hold when we have fraction multiplying fraction. You see, whole number multiplying fraction. Let us see fraction multiplying fraction. Whether what we have now can also hold. Fraction multiplying fraction. I now have 1 over 4 multiplied by 2 over 3. Let's see whether that will happen. We want to look at this diagrammatically. Let's put a diagram up and see whether that could help. I have a diagram like that, a rectangle, and I'm dividing this rectangle into 3 portions. Because what I have on the board here now, 1 over 4 times this means 1/4 of. 1/4 of a fraction that is already waiting. We are now trying to do a second operation on that. 1/4 of. Now, this is a whole number that we have there, but we need 2/3 of it. So, these are the 2/3, if I might shade. So, that is a portion. Not this portion that is not shaded. This one. That is the 2/3 that we are thinking about. And then they are saying, these 2/3, divide it into 4 and take 1. Remember, the number below is the number of divisions into which you make. The number on top is the number of selections you make. So we are going to divide this portion that is remaining. Now, shaded. We are going to divide them into 4 portions. So I'll now have this. I have this. Because I divided these ones into 4 portions. What about this other big one that is remaining? Even though it's not there originally, I have to divide it again into 2 portions, what I did with the others, so that I will not cause confusion. All right. But remember, we just want 1/4 of. Now see the one that we divided into 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They want only 1. So I'll go and shade that particular one. Let me shade the one that they want. I have shaded it. Originally, I had a whole number. But I'm now going to make a selection what they want. So the whole number is divided into how many portions? Remember, fraction is numerator over denominator. Denominator into number of portions that the thing is divided. Numerator, number of portions selected. So let's follow that. So the original fraction here now has been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, divided into 6. How many portions did we cross-shade? Only 1. Cross-shade, only 1. So pick that. It therefore means that 1 over 4 of 2/3 is equal to 1 over 6. From the diagram we set on the board. But let's just apply the rule of multiplication and see. If we apply the rule of multiplication, we now have 1 times 2, 2, all over 4 times 3, 12. This is a fraction. We have to reduce this unstable to a stable form. 2 here, 1, 2 there, 6. So it gives us again 1 over 6. Therefore, we do not need these diagrams to be illustrating what we have. We have now arrived at a formula. Multiply out the numerators, put. Multiply out the denominators, put. Then start reducing. So as at final answer. If that is the case, let us clean this and see whether we can do one or two more. Let's see whether we can do one or two more. I'm given 2 over 3 of 3 over 4. So from what we have agreed now, the numerator of the first fraction is 2, denominator 3. Numerator of the second fraction is 3, denominator 4. So we will write this now as 2 times 3 all over 3 times 4. You may start reducing here, or you may multiply out so as to have a fraction, numerator over denominator. Multiplying out, you have 6 all over 12. That's what we have. But this is not a stable fraction. Because it's not a stable fraction, what do we do? Samson, can you help us? That's good. I quite thought that you would get it. So Samson has said that 6 is common to 6 and common to 12. He doesn't want to waste time. He says divide across by 6. That is what he said. So I will agree with Samson. 6 here, 1. 6 here, 2. Finally, our answer is 1 over 2. That's good. But we could have started with 2, after that 3. But Samson does it because he knows his multiplication table very well. He wants it to go at once. 6 can divide here. 6 can divide here. And it goes at once. Good, Samson. Keep it up. All right. Now, let us leave this. Division. Division in fractions. Division in fractions. Division in fractions. Division in fractions. Division. That is where we are. There are some concepts that we need to know. One of which is reciprocal. Reciprocal. And what is reciprocal? Let me write it on the board. Reciprocal. What is it? You are now changing, fraction is numerator over denominator. But you now want to do the opposite of that definition. You want the denominator to come first, and then the numerator to go down. In other words, somersaulting, so that numerator becomes denominator, and denominator becomes numerator. That means turning the original fraction upside down. But some people don't like that expression. They say it's downside up. Whether upside down or downside up, the final product is the same. All right. So if I have 2 over 1, then the reciprocal of this number now will become, remember, this is numerator and this is denominator. Since upside will go down, so numerator will go down, numerator down, then denominator up. So what do we have there? 1 all over 2. Very simple. Turn the thing upside down. That is the meaning of this reciprocal. So when division is involved, the original fraction remains. The one that is dividing is the one who should prove the matter beyond reasonable doubt. Is the one who has to somersault. Let us see what it's going to do to this fraction. So suppose I have 2/3 divided by 3/4. 2/3 remains. It is Mr. 3/4 that is going to show us the magic that he has. And what is the magic? Reciprocal. He has to turn himself upside down. So this now is going to give us 2 over 3. We will not write division again because there's a magic that has come in there. We are changing it to multiplication because this man has decided to turn himself upside down. Then after that, we can then start simplifying. Remember that we said, what did we say? Multiply out the numerators. 2 times 4, you have 8. Multiply the denominators, 3 times 3, and that is 9. That is what is involved in division. The original number will remain intact. The one that is dividing, who has come to cause confusion of somersault, acrobatic show, will turn himself upside down. And because he has turned himself upside down, we will no longer say it's division. We will say that it is what? Multiplication. Take note. Change division to multiplication. Then let the divisor, the one that is dividing, turn himself upside down. That is the rule. So we want to combine. We want to combine multiplication and division. Multiplication and division. So I have 2/3 of 3/4 divided by 5/6. All these three are fractions. And we are going to work them out now. What is off? Say wherever we see off, we change it to multiplications. I have 2/3 times 3/4 divided by 5/6. Good. But there is a rule for everything. The rule is that if you are eating food, let's say fufu, after getting it, you want to your mouth, to your body. Not through the nose to your body. The rule is that you should enter the mouth, not the nose. So also here, there is a rule. And the rule is what they told us in the primary school, Mr. Bod, mass. That is the rule. We follow this thing, bracket, off, division, and all the rest of them. That is the way we do it. But remember that they said off should come before division. So it therefore means that we have to treat this first, because that was the off. But if they had written it like this without off, then we will start these two first. But because they introduced this and there was an off in the original position, that's where we are starting. All right, let's look at this. Remember, multiply out the numerators. Don't cancel out. You may make a mistake. 2 times 3, 6. 3 times 4, 12. This is to be divided by 5/6. Aha! We have now come down to the rule of division. Mister, remain where you are. My friend, you are the one who is coming to divide. I said, you will turn upside down. You must perform that magic of turning your numerator into denominator and turning your denominator into numerator. So, original fraction, 6/12. Then the new fraction now, because this is changing to multiplication, the new fraction now will be 6/5. Then it is at this time that we will start reducing. So, you can see 6 here, 1, 6 here, 2. 2 here, 1, 2 there, 3. Then the final numerator is 1 times 3, 3. Final denominator, 1 times 5, 5. So that is our answer. It therefore means that we can combine the fractions. When we are combining the fractions, it must be registered in our memory that there is a rule. You don't carry the food and put inside your nose. It will go to the mouth. So, that is the rule. Bracket first. If there is any off, treat that one. If there is any division, treat that one. Before multiplication, before addition, and before subtraction. So, let us see. We have to make use of our brain as we are doing this. I hope you have written this down. Write quickly now. David, you are very slow. Are you through? Because I said, are you true? Are you sure? That's very good of you. So let's go on. There's a stage where we reach, we apply number 6. Now, let's take for instance, I have 3.5. That is what I'm given. You look at it. 3.5 minus 5 whole number 3 over 4 plus 2 whole number 5 over 8. You see a board mass. Addition before subtraction. You come and put this bracket here. You are going to cause trouble to the system because you did not understand that the first thing written there without a sign has plus in front. It shows it's a positive quantity. So you have to put all the positive quantities together first before the negative starts coming. So Mr. and Mr., the two of you will come together. So we have plus 3.5 plus 2 whole number 5 over 8. After that, minus 5 whole number 3 over 4. That is how it's supposed to be done. Otherwise, you put yourself in trouble. Attach the sign that is missing. So we can now add the whole numbers and do the subtraction. 3 plus 5, all right. 3 plus 5. 3 plus 2. 3 plus 2. Beg your pardon. 3 plus 2. Then minus the 5. This is for the whole numbers. This 3 is here. This 2 is here. This 5 is here. That is for the whole numbers. What about for the fractions themselves? We need a least common denominator for 2, 8, and 4. And that happens to be 8. All right. So, 2 into 8, 4, put it there, but it has to multiply the numerator there 1. Plus 8 into 8, 1, but it must multiply the numerator there 5. Minus 4 into 8, 2, 2 times, okay, 2 times 3. That's what we have. Then we start simplifying. 3 plus 2 is 5 minus 5. The whole numbers have disappeared. So we are now on the fractions proper only. And what do we have there? The fractions, so that is going to give us, denominator still remains 8. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 times 5 is 5, minus 6. So simplify. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 minus 6, that gives us 3 all over 8. Okay, let us see whether there's anything that can divide. Let's see whether there's anything that can divide and reduce. Mercy. Is there anything that can divide both 3 and 8 without a remainder? Yes, you are very funny. 1 can divide both of them, but not 1. Any number, but not 1. No number? Good. So that is the final answer for that. Right. Any questions? Any? Yes? Okay. It says, are there any more examples to be given so that they will do? But because of time factor, I will give you some problems to do by yourself. These are going to involve addition, subtraction, multiplication, addition, so that we see whether you've gotten the fractions. Now, you get ready to write down these. Yeah? Promise. You mean you have not finished copying this? Are you true? Is it because I say you have not finished? Are you sure? Okay, that's all right. All right, so let's go on. So we want to combine them. And then in combining them, I get them from somewhere. that you may be aware of. But I'll change them all. Simplify. That means you reduce them as they're supposed to be. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. All right. Let's leave it at 4 only. Let's read it out so that we can see. Number 1 says 1.5 added onto 2 1/3, then subtract 3 1/4 from that. Number 2 says 5 1/6 minus 4 2/3 plus 6 1/12. Number 3 says 5 multiplied by 2/3. And number 6 says 5/6 divided by 7/8. Goodbye.